boys and girls. What a game that was. I'm sure you watched it. It was on Sky, and I'm sure there's other ways to watch it too if you're into that sort of stuff. And if you're one of the lucky guys and girls, or whatever you call yourselves, one of the 900 that got to go to the game, I am ridiculously jealous. Obviously, I'm a season ticket holder, and so is half my family and all that good stuff. But we weren't drawn, and that's absolutely fine. I've got no dramas because you guys, if you were there, those of you that were, put in an absolute shift, standing in the pissing rain for that long. Those 7 added minutes must have felt like 20. But you didn't let up. The first Amber Army chant I heard gave me goosebumps. It was a beautiful feeling. It's been such a long time. I've not been to a game since Millwall away, which I think was the 3rd of Jan, 2020. I went overseas with work 2 days after that, and by the time I got back, it was all lockdown. So well done to those of you that got to go. I hope you had a great time. Everyone looked as though they were behaving themselves. There was no, everyone was all there, staying there 2 meters apart or wherever it was. So for the important people that were watching, to make sure you were behaving yourselves, because as we know there were people watching. You've done us a solid effort, a good job, and hopefully, because that was the pilot event, it just puts us in a good place for getting back to normal next season in League One. So I did my analysis-y stuff that I always do. I got 2 A4 pages here, and I'm not going to rattle through everything because we all know what that game meant. We all know what happened, and we all know what needs to be done. So I'll read out the important bits and I'll quickly rattle through it. Before I start though, obviously this channel run by three other guys that all put in an absolute shift to try and bring you guys good content and help the club essentially is what they're doing, and they've been so kind as to invite me to do my little post-matchy stuff. So all the likes and comments, shares, and of course the subscriptions. You guys subscribing to the channel makes a massive difference. So before I get started, I'd like to invite you to do all that if you would be so kind. So I'll jump straight into it. The punditry at the beginning was great. The build-up always gets me proper amped up, especially when it's on Sky. We know that's a massive money maker for us, just being on telly. And obviously there'll be a big gate money. No, there won't, because it was free for everyone. But if we get to Wembley, when we get to Wembley, that'll be decent gate money. So this is all the financial stuff that's kept us floating years gone by with the FA Cup and all that sort of stuff being on TV. So it's great that we're up there and back around it again. It's fantastic stuff. It's really good to start getting a bit of normality and to see our efforts this season, because it's not been easy, finally paying off. Yeah, the punditry was great. They're talking really highly of Newport, which is always good to see. You had the Collins brothers and their mum and dad in the audience and all that sort of stuff. It was all added to a bit of fun. Then you had Jammer back on the bench for Forest Green, which was a massive shock, and all little things like that, which was adds to the evening, I guess. Little interesting note: the pitch is getting ripped up in the morning. $1 million, I think the new pitch is costing. It's like a hybrid grass with under turf drainage and stuff like that. So hopefully next season and the season after, we won't have as many dramas and have to go to our neighbours in Cardiff, hopefully. So kick off. Really happy with the lineup. Not much change. Was there one change, I think? Potentially Matty Dolan starting, yeah, of course. For Labs, well, not for Labs, but Labs didn't start due to an injury, and it was nice to see Matty back after his little concussion spell. Opening minute, it really did look frantic, and this is literally 40-50 seconds. Podge has a fantastic effort, but unfortunately he fires it high, and he probably ended up having about 3, maybe 4, 3 definitely clear-cut chances, and unfortunately he went for a sexy little chip, which is obviously difficult to do, and it just went over. And then he had 2 other efforts where he really should have done better, and I was starting to think to myself, always Podge past it, because obviously he has been my favourite player. I'm sure he's many of yours as well, but then I thought to myself, shut up Phil, he's our top goal scorer again for the 4th year running, so I'll say nothing more on the matter. A little bit to remember: there's no away goal advantage and all that sort of stuff, not that they scored. That was our 4th consecutive home game without conceding a single goal, which was good to see. yeah, we looked brilliant. The opening sort of 15 minutes, we looked absolutely fantastic. They didn't look like they were going to get a sniff. And at this point, about 15 minutes in, I was saying we really do need to take advantage of this. 20, this was cool. 23 different scorers for Newport County over this season, which is the most in League Two. That's a little bit of an interesting fact. Big shout for a pen for us in the 28th minute, but they didn't give it. It was a handball, but the ball was bouncing up, and if it was Premier League, it probably wouldn't have been given, but it's not, so we'll carry on. I can't remember what minute it was, maybe the 31st minute, I think. Matty Dolan, outside of the box, little run up, ball gets squared to him, left foot. The player of our season probably just scored the goal of our season. It was absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, find it. I'm sure the club will post it in the morning. It was ridiculous. It was stupid. And who else was it going to be except for Super Matty Dolan? Forest Green Rovers, yeah, they had a free kick in the 39th and they hit the cross section of where the bar meets the post. But it's a shot off target, so who cares? 40th minute, hoping, we're 1-0 up, hoping to go into the half with that 1-0 lead. Sheehan, 3 massive slide tackles, all sweet as a nut, perfection. Just doing absolute bits. It was class to see. And then, half time comes. Podge has not stopped running at this point. He's been absolutely fantastic. As he always does. It's like he's got something to prove. Yeah, he might be 32, 33, but he's only a little lad and, he's got no signs of slowing down. We only lost 5 games at home all season. That's what the commentator said. I mean, I haven't looked into it, but if he's working for Sky, I'm gonna trust what he said. And at this point, we had 3 clean sheets in the bounce. As we now know, it's 4, as I said a minute ago. No League Two team has won more points at home than we have, which is pretty good. Podge had another chance, miles on the crossbar, blah, 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 blah. And then I mentioned here, this is where I was sort of thinking, is he past it? He's still our top goal scorer with 9, so I'll shut up. Then Lewis Collins, the beautiful little man, there were shouts for offside and blah, 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 but it wasn't given. Like I said, we would have had a penalty if it was in Premier League. That might have been given offside. I don't know. The camera angles aren't as good, so I'm not particularly interested. He stays calm and cool and collected, and left foot, maybe a little bit of a miss-hit, bounces over the keeper. Sweet as a nut, that'll do. And his celebration was awesome. If you haven't seen it, we all know his mum and dad was in the audience, and his brother was in the centre spot waiting to kick off, and little Lewis Collins was still doing a little AC/DC Angus Young spinneroonie, whatever it was. Funnily enough, then as we were 2-0 up, the commentators mentioned Forest Green Rovers got an uphill battle. If you've ever parked at the bottom of the hill at Forest Green's ground and had to walk up, that is an uphill battle. So screw them, and I hope they enjoy their uphill battle. Lewis Collins then limps off, a bit concerning. I thought it was like a hamstringy, calfy thing because he was seen sort of pulling on his toes, that sort of thing. But later on, you could see him icing his ankle. So let's hope that's nothing too serious. Ryan Taylor comes on, and in all fairness to the guy, he did pretty good. 67th minute, I thought I forgot to write down the minute. Tom King was one-on-one with their striker, made himself massive, beautiful save, kept us in it. I mean, we were 2-0 up anyway, but much better to go in to a second leg with a 2-0 lead. He did fantastic, and he saved it, and then he was up straight away, looking around, checking where the ball was, checking where the attackers were. Ball goes out, and then he celebrates, quite rightly so as well. So those sorts of saves are sometimes, just as we all know, just as important as the goals. Jammer's warming up in the 73rd minute, and he jogs on probably about the 74th, and he gets booed by all our fans, which is funny. Whatever, okay. Would I booed him? Yeah, heat at the moment, probably. He's a bad guy now, isn't he? As well as he did for us. It doesn't matter anymore, does it? He then dives like an absolute fairy, claiming Mickey sent him flying, but it was the softest thing you'd ever seen in your life. And the ref obviously shakes his head and says, "Not a chance, mate." And he screams the place down, and you see him turn around and go, "Mickey!" like having a go at Mickey, and Mickey just jogs off like, "Not interested, mate." It's nothing personal, just business now, I guess, isn't it? But yeah, tries to go for the penalty, and he obviously didn't get it. And then a couple of minutes later, the ball rolls out for a goal kick, and as Jammer's jogging off to get it, you can see Tom King say something to him, and Jammer turns around shocked. I don't know what he said. I'd love to know though, but we will never know, will we? Of course we won't. And then in the 89th minute, 89th minute, Nicky Maynard warming up. It's like, whoa, bringing an attacker on in the 89th minute when you're 2-0 up. That's a ballsy move, but I love it. Just shows our intentions. And what was also interesting, that I've completely skipped past, is as soon as Jammer gets subbed on, Priestley for Quarsson comes on as well. It's like, we've got an army, we've got a Hulk sort of thing. And he did fantastically. The boys did absolutely amazing. The fans did amazing. Michael Flynn and Wayne Hatswell, fantastic. The ref was decent. Everything was great tonight. I wish I was there. And well done to those guys, and congrats that you got drawn to go to that. In the end, sort of 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes maybe, including the 7 minutes of added time, everything would just happen to go our way. Our players were playing fantastically. There was a bit of a muddle about when Matty Dolan came off. Scott Bennett sort of moved around a bit. And we were, playing with the ball in the corners, doing a bit of time management and stuff like that. And we were winning the corners from that, and then we were getting loads of free kicks because the Forest Green guys were getting really frustrated. It was awesome. And I don't need to tell you what happens now. We go to Forest Green on Sunday, earlier kickoff, 6:30 maybe. Don't quote me on that. Have a little look. No away fans, unfortunately, but no dramas. Pump the vegans. We'll all watch it on telly, and then we'll have a little dance when we all get to meet at Wembley, which I think is the 31st, which is the bank holiday Monday. Again, don't quote me on that. I should really Google these things, or at least check my facts before I sit in front of a camera for 13 minutes and waffle tripe. But yeah, win at Wembley, go to League One. Simple, isn't it? Absolutely simple. Man of the match, Aaron Lewis was absolutely fantastic. He just did not stop and assisted the second goal. But then you got the likes of Podge. Yeah, he didn't score, but he literally did not stop running. It's like he's a little Duracell bunny. Just doesn't stop. But then you got Matty Dolan. How can you not consider him for the man of the season? But especially today, his goal was ridiculous. He's a centre-back taking the piss out of bloody their defenders and their keeper by scoring rockets from miles out. Oh, dare I say it was Scott Twine-esque, maybe. I'm going to leave it there. I'll probably put Matty Dolan as the man of the match. But like I said, the shout out for Sheehan had a fantastic game, and it was silly. You could dish out 11 man of the match. But there we go. We know what we need to do now. I'll say no more. I'll leave it there. Be good, guys. See you later. See you at Wembley. Boom.